What's up, guys? Dylan here, and I'm going to talk about Bitcoin going down, the FUD, all that stuff. So before I get into that, like, subscribe, leave a comment below. And if you're interested in entrepreneurial activities, entrepreneurial opportunities, and how to build a business in crypto, subscribe to my Patreon because there's going to be more updates coming out there soon. So with that, let's get into it. So Bitcoin at this point in time has been just kind of going down, right? There's been a lot of what they call FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt this week. And the market has, I think it's at $2.1 trillion value versus it was like around 2.5 a week or so ago. First thing to think is don't panic, right? Cryptocurrency. It goes through these cycles. I mean, look at its history, and it's not over, right? Bitcoin going down, Ethereum going down, the blue chips going down. A lot of money was made this year. Like they went to the highest levels ever, and a lot of money was in that. And so it's just like they might dip some, right? And there's nothing really you can do to control it. You can freak out, but if you're investing and you're worried that it's just going to go, right? If you're just investing for the short term, this kind of stuff happens. Like this is a really good example of if you only are looking out a few months ahead of time, if you're not looking out, years into the future, the potential there, and you're valuing something based on what returns you can get this year, then it can be a lot more stressful. But if you're valuing it based upon what it can do in 3 to 5, 3, 5, 10, 20 years, right? And you're putting money in today and you've done the valuation and you're sure of it, right? Or you're confident in it. I mean, you can't be 100% sure about the future, but you can be confident in it. Then it going down in the short term doesn't necessarily change anything, right? It doesn't mean anything. Bitcoin miners are still mining. People are still buying Bitcoin. People still have Bitcoin and stuff on their computers, and other cryptos. Right? There's so much money into this. Right? I think you have to realize is so much money's been put into this industry. Like, if it gets taken out, where's it gonna go? Like, where is the money gonna go that leaves this this asset class? And so that's a good question. And if there's no other better place for the money to go, then it's not going to keep just going down, because why would you take your money out of one asset to put it in another asset that isn't as good, right? So I think it's very important for people to consider. And I think it's very important for people to know and feel how it feels when Bitcoin starts trending down, right? Bitcoin controls the whole market. It is the Godzilla. And I just want to read some comments. Someone made a video live streaming. It was actually a guy named Cryptos R Us. He has some good live streams. He's like, I am George. We are all George. So shout out to that guy. You have some interesting stuff on your channel. I've watched some of your videos and stuff, so it's good. And I appreciate how he does live streams, right? Just updates, so I need to do more of those. But anyways, people are freaking out in the comments, right? Some people are saying, like, I started in crypto in January, and my whole mindset has changed. These dips used to shake me out, but now I'm buying more, right? This person said, I'm down 25% since we started this dip. I'm holding, but scared, to be honest. Guess I got to wait a couple years. Right? And then someone responded I was in your position once. Just hang tight, zoom out, and look at the big picture. Right? Someone said, just wait a week or two and you're good. Just wait out all the BS FUD the haters are spewing. This will turn around soon. This other person said, I've only been in crypto since February. I've seen plenty of growth, but now I'm only up 13% in total. It was around 20% earlier today. I made profits in alts and put my earnings into BTC. All my current stakings are down. 80% of my portfolio is BTC and it's bleeding rapidly. How do I not panic? I mean, it's perfectly logical that BTC could be replaced. Just because it was the first doesn't mean it's the best store of wealth. It's hard to deal with losing all the profits I've accumulated this year. Sure, I'm new. Sure, I'm broke. Sure, I can afford a budget and pump 50% of my income into crypto. But when do you draw the line? Who says this will stop if the market is supposed to be controlled by BTC? Then why are alts surging? Feels like everything we know is false. Man, that's a lot of stress, right? That's a lot of stress, a lot of FUD, as they call it in the crypto space, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And, there's some... I guess there is some reasonableness to be a little bit worried. One thing is crypto is it's new, right? And it has more uncertainty and more volatility, and it's smaller. It hasn't been around for, we haven't had it around for a while. Bitcoin's been around 10 years, right? Or just over 10 years. So you're going to have to deal with that, right? When you invest in something that is newer, then you're going to have this more volatility, these higher highs and lower lows, and a little bit more uncertainty with your investments. But that person was saying is like they're up 13% on the year, which that's typically not that bad, right? That's not that bad of return to be able to put your investments in something. Like if you put your investments in a more traditional, I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't know all these numbers off the top of my head, but I just gotta say that out. I'm not advising you financially, but if you put your investments in a traditional investment, 13%, I think would be pretty decent, right, for something that's not too risky, right? If you put it in a fund, I had a buddy telling me that he was putting his investments in a fund, and they were guaranteeing, or their pitch was 18 to 20% return on your investment, right? So that's what they were saying. So that's not that's not nothing to complain about just for the year, right? I think there's this perception that you invest in crypto and you're going to be a millionaire overnight. And I think that's what a lot of people have been joining crypto this year, more so than any other year. Like just has really, really penetrated the market and really, really gotten into, reached more recreational investors or people, right? And people with perhaps other things going on. They're not studying the market every day. They're just putting money in here and there. They can do it from their phone, so it's easy. So there's not a lot of on-ramps that they have to go through. There's not a lot of education that they have to go through to understand it. And these people are much more willing to, they're much more likely to have what they say paper hands, right, instead of diamond hands. And crypto's complex, right? There's a huge learning curve to really understand it. And I've been in it for a decent amount of time, studying this stuff, working with crypto entrepreneurs, and man, I still am learning stuff every single day, and I'm studying a lot. Like I consume so much information around this stuff. Just finished reading a couple books, just listening to all these lectures from thought leaders in the space, and just trying to learn as much as I can. I'm still learning things, and the more you learn, the more the value proposition becomes real, and the more the FUD, the stuff put out there, the surface level arguments start to hold less weight. And I'm not trying to, imply some grand conspiracy here, but there are some things that we know is true, and that are feeding into the popularity of crypto, and that if these things are true to the extent that people believe them, that would indicate that there are certain people that are in current positions that aren't necessarily in the best position, that might want to make their position better, and they might have more power than some of us, right, normal little people. So basically, we know that inflation's been a thing. We know that the monetary supply has been increased dramatically over this past year with COVID. Like that's a thing, right? That's not anything that's new, right? And we know that there's going to be a continuation of that monetary supply increase, because we know the way the monetary system's set up right now, relying on fiat money, we can print more money, right? And we know certain institutions have a incentive. They're incentivized to do that, right? They're incentivized to print more money, because it's what they've done, right? That's what they do, right? That's what they've learned to do, and so they do that. So we know these things are happening. We know these things are true. So if crypto, Bitcoin particularly, is meant to be a replacement for the monetary system, these institutions, or these people, right? They have a couple choices. Like one, they can fight it, right, and try and stop it. And Bitcoin hasn't been stopped yet. And part of the power of Bitcoin is the amount of energy it takes to operate, which means people have a lot of vested financial resource in the success of Bitcoin, versus a lot of other cryptocurrencies don't necessarily have that same type of investment resources required to facilitate it. But Bitcoin, right, it's been running since I didn't get I think it was 2009, so just over 10 years, and it hasn't been stopped, right? It hasn't been, and I don't think it's been hacked at all, and its uptime is 100%, right? It's never fully went down over 10 years, which is pretty incredible. Just the other day, one of my software applications that I subscribed to sent out an email saying that their service went down for a day, right? That happens all the time, right? So anyways, as I was saying, so Bitcoin, so they can either attack it, right, and try to get rid of it, and that hasn't proved successful so far. and it hasn't been successful so far. Like maybe now they're just starting to pay attention to it because it's just now big enough to be a threat. And now they're like, okay, now we have to take action. So maybe in the past they didn't take enough action, but there was enough information out there that you'd expect that people in positions of power that stand to lose ground if Bitcoin becomes more mainstream would have done something, right? A few years ago. Maybe they just are too arrogant and they ignored it, right? But maybe, right, they see the writing on the wall and they understand that, hey, they have power currently and that their ways they're acquiring their power, they implement their power, those methods are dying, and perhaps they see the opportunity to embrace it. But they're not going to do it without, trying to make a power grab. So something like pushing the price down, because it's a small enough market where the price can be pushed down, which is part of the reason why bigger institutional investors haven't put their money in, because it's harder to trade, $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion, $5 billion in a day without changing the price in the market. So once the Bitcoin market, crypto market becomes bigger, 5, 10 plus trillion dollars, it becomes easier for them to move billions of dollars quickly without impacting the price. But right now, the price gets impacted when a lot of money's moved, right? And people can see it, people can watch it. You put out a few news articles talking about it, right? Spreading that FUD. The retail investors, right? The people who are less likely to understand. They're more likely and less likely, right? I think you have more people in the retail investor world that understand cryptocurrencies, blockchain, Bitcoin, and than you do in the traditional investment world. But they have, they understand because they've been in it. They're fanatics. They're early adopters. And then you have a lot of people in the retail world that just kind of heard about it, and so they're just like, okay, yeah, I'll buy in, no big deal. So you have, on both sides, they have a lot of uneducated and a lot of educated people. So they, by pushing the FUD out there, trying to manipulate the price down, right? What they're doing, and they could be doing, is setting it up for their money to come in, to buy the things up, to buy from the people that are folding, right? The people that are like, oh my gosh, this is too stressful for me. Like I can't afford this, or I thought I'd be rich already, but I'm not. And the people that just put money in because their friend told them about it, they're like, oh shit, I'm down, $100, $1,000, $1,000, $10,000, depending on how much they put in. Like I can't handle that, and so they're pulling their money out, right? So you get all these people that are pulling their money out, and you're just essentially folding all the weak hands. And now what that does is that if the price gets put down and you have less retail people holding Bitcoin or holding cryptocurrencies, you can go in and buy a bunch up. Your $1 million, your $100 million goes a lot further, right? If the price drops 10 to 15%, and if you still believe in the viability of the asset. So if you can do things like this and strategically get in, right? And these institutions, people with money, are seeing this, and so this makes sense if you believe in it. If you don't believe in it, you will soon, one of these days. But if you believe in it, if you believe the potential of this asset class, and you believe this asset class isn't just going to die out, right? $2.5 trillion worth of money gravitating, and we're still over $2 trillion worth of money in this industry. It's not just going to go away. It didn't just like go here and just to hang out and then just dissipate, right? There's so much money flowing into this space. There's so many people starting companies. There's so much attention. You have all these big institutions that are announcing that they are going to start accepting Bitcoin, that they're going to allow people to buy Bitcoin. The banks have announced that they're going to allow people to purchase Bitcoin through them. So not just PayPal, not just Coinbase. Coinbase just IPO'd. Like, it's not just going to drop off a cliff. Like Coinbase didn't just IPO just because they wanted to, just because they Bitcoin's price is going up. They IPO'd because they thought it'd be a strategic business decision, and it may slow down for a little bit, but things are still gonna go. And the people that believe in this, hopefully you do, just adjust your time horizons. Like, these institutions move slower, right? So if they can get the price down, right, they can spread FUD to allow the price to be lower when they're able to have the funds, to free up the funds, right, to invest in this. That's good for them, because as soon as large institutions start investing in this, it paves the way for more large institutions to invest. So there's I feel like there's, and this is all just my opinion from things I've read, and not even just, go do your own research. But what I feel like is there's the first movers, like the MicroStrategy, Square, Tesla was a first mover, and now they've kind of moved away from it a little bit. But you have your first movers, and so they're just going to do it. And everyone's like, you know what? Like, they're the first movers. We expected them to do that, or it makes sense that they would do that.
Us. I am George. We're all George, so I'm back. I'm back at home.
My computer started. The George guy started up. But the first movers, okay. So if those first movers don't generate enough attention or energy to get everyone to knock over the big domino, to knock over everything else, right? That big domino is still there. So there's a lot of other people. So those first movers go, they invest, they buy in, right? The world sees it. It's going to get a bump, which it did. And then if that bump doesn't continue, if more and more people don't start going in, then what's going to happen is these other companies, institutions, people with a lot of money, they all know each other, right? A lot of these hedge fund managers and big, big corporations and stuff, a lot of those people know each other, right? They talk, they communicate, and there's kind of like a shuffling of like who's going to go first, right? And it's like almost like, think about it like the way I'm picturing it, and I could be completely wrong, just whatever, don't listen to me, I'm some guy on the internet, but like the wildebeest on Discovery Channel, when they're going to cross the river, they go up there and they're like, first, they don't just jump in necessarily, and then one like kind of tests it, and as soon as that first one goes in, the whole flood of wildebeest go across the river because they're worried about getting eaten by an alligator, right? And it's just a thing. And so a lot of these companies, bigger companies, they have a lot more to lose. They don't, maybe all their shareholders haven't bought in. They need someone else to be a first mover to convince their board. There's all this stuff. So there's kind of could be a delay. And so once people start investing, once they start doing it, once more and more go into it, then you're going to see a floodgate. And so there could be this kind of calm before the storm, right? Or calm because we're in the eye of the storm going on right now, where the prices are going down. They're spreading some FUD, so they're getting their, their resources aligned so they can make the move quickly and effectively, so they're not priced out of the market, so they don't lose 20% of their investment, right? Because if Bitcoin had positive news over this past week, it could be at 60 plus thousand, right? It could have kept getting pushed up, right? But with the negative news, now it's down in the 40s. It was like 45 something, 46 thousand, right? That's a decent gap, in the long term of things. For you and I, maybe it is, maybe not. But for these big institutions, that's a lot of money that they can save, or they can leverage more for their investment. And perhaps that's what their shareholders wanted, or perhaps what their board wanted, to get it under 50. Maybe they want to get under 40. Who knows, right? I mean, they want to, whatever it is. You can't, and I'm saying like there's some big collusion, some big like evil force out there, or ominous force. It probably isn't. It's just probably market dynamics and things like that. So anyways, like, the way I see it is I still see this as an opportunity. I see this as transformational. I see it as something that we don't fully understand the impact of it yet. And once you start wrapping your mind around the big picture of this and what it could turn into, then you're going to see more and more opportunity. And then so what if it goes down a little bit in the short term, right? You're not playing on the short term level, right? You're playing on the long term game, right? You're saying like, hey, like this is a 10 trillion, $100 trillion asset that I'm investing in, asset class that I'm investing in. The value of my dollar is going down. I got to find somewhere to put my money so that it isn't worth nothing in 5 years. I got to put it in something that secures that value over time, right? And that is exactly what this is. So when you think about that, the cost of these fluctuations, don't worry about it, right? Don't get too stressed out. Besides, you have no control over it. So just put your money in for your future self, save it, store it. Don't try to be like, I need to put this money in, I need to double it, I need to triple it, I need to quadruple it in the next month, because that's how you take bigger risks, and that's how you get bigger losses, and that's how you get burned. But if you're like, I'm going to put this money in the piggy bank, in my Bitcoin piggy bank, I'm just going to constantly put stuff in the Bitcoin piggy bank, and saving for my future, just saving for my future, right? Then you're going to have a lot more success, and you're not going to worry about these dips, you're not going to worry as much about the FUD, and you're going to be cool with it. So that's it. It could be, the price could just keep dropping. Who knows? I don't know. I don't think it will. I think there's still too much opportunity. I think that a lot of groundwork has been laid for a lot of investment to flood into this space. I think it's just waiting on people are just waiting on the right time, and it's going to start happening. Whether you like it or not, you're gonna start seeing it, and you're gonna think back. Just wait a couple weeks, and you're gonna think back, wow, I remember what 2 weeks ago. So on the one hand, you could be like, oh man, I should have, things were, I didn't know it was gonna get even worse. Right? On the other hand, you could be like, man, I thought it was really bad, but hey, I'm glad I stuck with it. I held, and I think it's I'm more optimistic about the future now than I was before, and I tend to believe that outcome versus the other one. So. Anyways, that's it. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you're feeling about this. Let me know if you see this as an opportunity or if you see it as a something to run away from. Whatever you feel is all right. Just do your research, form your own opinions. And again, I'm not giving financial advice. So that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you're not too freaked out by any sort of price changes or anything like that. And hopefully you're looking for the opportunities out there to make wealth for yourself and your family. So. All right, that's it. If you like this video, appreciate you guys watching it. And go down, click the like button, subscribe. And of course, if you want to learn more about entrepreneurial opportunities, join my Patreon, where I'm going to be releasing some more content and information on that in the next coming weeks and months. So that's got me really excited. It's got me working hard. So hopefully I can share that with you and help you prosper. All right, take care. Peace.